Good evening and welcome to the public hearing on behalf of the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. My name is Adem and I'm a designated hearing officer for the proceedings.
I can hardly hear you.
Hearing officer. You can
I can't hear.
How about now?
Oh, beautiful.
Okay. All right. So my name is Anna Wood. I'm a designated hearing officer for these proceedings. The role of the hearing officer is limited to ensuring orderly hearings so that an accurate record of this hearing can be developed for the department's evaluation. I do not make any decisions regarding this proposed permit action. On behalf of the department, we appreciate your participation in tonight's hearing for the proposed reissuance of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES, permit number AL00014449, currently held by Tyson Foods Incorporated, for a poultry processing facility located at 67240 Main Street, Huntsville, Alabama, in Blount County. This hearing is being held in response to the request for such made by members of the public during the draft permit's public comment period. The purpose of this hearing is to provide the public with an opportunity to present oral testimony on the proposed reissuance of the NPDES permit. In addition to the oral testimony received tonight, the department will also consider all written comments submitted before the close of the public comment period. The department has requested your comments, and we appreciate you taking the time to make them known to us. On February 17th, 2026, notice of the date, time, place, and purpose of this hearing was posted on the department's website. In addition, the department sent notice of this hearing by email to 849 individuals and organizations who had previously requested advance notice of permit proceedings. A copy of the notice and the email distribution list will be entered into the record of these proceedings. Copies of the public notice, permit application, preliminary determination, and draft permit have been made available for inspection by the public at the offices of the department, 1400 Coliseum Boulevard in Montgomery, as well as at the department's website. This hearing is open to the public, and anyone wishing to present oral testimony or submit a written statement may do so. Those who have not previously completed a registration card to give testimony should do so at this time and present it at the registration table. Those who wish to receive notification of the department's final determination should also complete a registration card. Lengthy statements or those containing considerable technical or other complex data should be submitted in writing. Summaries of such statements may be presented orally. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to present their testimony. All testimony and written comments should be as factual as possible and should address the subject of this hearing. This hearing is an opportunity for members of the public to offer comments to help ensure that all relevant factors are considered before a final permit decision is made. Please be advised that the department is limited in the factors it can consider when making a permit decision and must base its determination only on whether the permit applicant has satisfied those requirements of applicable environmental statutes and regulations granted to Adem by the legislature. Persons giving testimony may be questioned by the hearing officer or other department staff to clarify points and to develop a better understanding of what is being presented. This proceeding tonight is not an open forum as in a question and answer session. This hearing is an opportunity for you to submit comments that you wish the department to consider in the final review of the permit application. However, you may pose a comment in the form of a question, which will be compiled and addressed by the department in its complete response to comments. In addition to oral testimony, written comments may be submitted on the proposed permit action. You do not have to make an oral statement tonight in order to have your written comments considered by the department. Written statements may be submitted to the hearing officer tonight or delivered to the department in Montgomery as directed in the public notice for this hearing. All written statements previously submitted and those received by the department before the end of the public comment period will be included in the hearing record. It is important to note that written comments submitted through postal or electronic mail are given the same consideration as those that are presented in person at this hearing. All oral and written testimony will be included in the hearing record. After giving full consideration to the hearing record, the department will make its final decision on the proposed permit action and develop a response to comments for the draft permit. The hearing record final permit determination and response to comments will be posted to the department's e-file system. This hearing is being captured by a court reporter to develop a transcript of this hearing for review by the department. In addition, the entire proceeding is being recorded on video to be posted to the department's YouTube channel to make it accessible to the public. Now, let us move forward on the purposes hearing. The receipt of public comments. The order of appearance of persons giving testimony will be as follows. First, a representative of the department. Second, any elected officials or their representatives who have registered to speak prior to the start of this hearing. And then all remaining members of the public will be heard in the order in which they registered. I now recognize Mohammed Mahmoud to present a statement on behalf of the department's water division.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Mahmoud and I'm an environmental engineering specialist in the industrial section within the industrial municipal branch of the water division of the Department of Environmental Management. The industrial section regulates the permitting, compliance, and enforcement activities of discharge of wastewater and stormwater from the industrial facilities within the state of Adem. The department's wastewater division is also represented this evening by Mr. Scott Jackson, Chief of the Industrial Section, and Mr. Scott Ramsey, Chief of the Industrial Municipal Branch. The department exercises authority under the Alabama Water Pollution Control Act and Alabama Environmental Management Act to administer and enforce Alabama's water pollution control and water quality regulations. The department also has the authority to implement federal water pollution control regulations. This hearing is concerning the draft National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System or NPDES permit revisions for Tyson Foods Incorporated, previously known as Tyson Foods, located in Burnsville, Alabama. The draft NPDES permit as public notice would regulate an existing discharge resulting from treated water processed wastewater, sanitary wastewater, and stormwater discharging through outfall DSN 001 to Grave Street, existing stormwater discharges discharging through outfall DSN 002 and DSN 003 to Grave Street, and existing stormwater discharges discharging through outfall DSN 004 to an unnamed tributary to Graves Creek. Graves Creek and Locust Fork have designated use classification of fish and wildlife. Fish and wildlife, water bodies are best used for fishing, propagation of fish, aquatic life, and wildlife, and it is recognized that these waters may be used for incidental water contact year-round and whole water contact recreation during the months of May through October. The draft permit has been developed by Adem to be consistent with the Locust Fork nutrient total maximum daily load. The total maximum daily load was established to address nutrient impairment in Locust Fork and also includes nutrient reduction in Graves Creek. Terms and conditions of the draft NPDES permit have been developed by Adem in accordance with applicable state and federal regulations, which are designed to be protective of human health and the environment. The department has made a preliminary determination that compliance with Tyson Foods Incorporated with the terms and conditions of the draft NPDES permit will not result in the violations of the applicable state water quality standards designed to protect human health and the environment. The preliminary determination will be reconsidered after all comments are received and reviewed. Thank you.
No elected officials have registered to speak at this time. Are there any elected officials present that would like to speak? From the board.
Good evening. My name is Bradley Harvey. I'm the chairman of the Blount County Commission. I put, that I'm kind of here for myself unofficially for Blount County. And I would like to really focus on my speech about our economy. And we've always embraced Tyson. This is not a knock against Tyson. We embrace them. We would love them to remain here. It's just that we are expanding our economy into a tourism focus. And Graves Creek, Martis Mill, immediately downstream, you have Kings Bend, where we have the kayak and canoe races, which will be in 3 weeks. I was just there today at Martis Mill. There were 3 groups of swimmers in Graves Creek. At the height of the summer, you'll have 50 people there on any given day or more swimming in Graves Creek. and all down through the locust fork in the immediate runoff area. It's just something that, you know, we care about the locust fork. It's 120 plus miles. It's something that it's a gold mine in our eyes for the county commission to bring in revenue, and we would just like to do everything we can to protect it while remaining business friendly. It's a tightrope. We know it is. It's a hard thing to do, but that's just, we would like to really focus on our tourism stuff too. So that's all.
All right, we will now proceed to the receipt of public comments and in the order that the registration cards were submitted at the registration table. And I ask each person making a statement to step up to the microphone and clearly state your name and the name of any interest or organization that you represent. While you're speaking, please direct your comments to me, not to the audience, to ensure that the court reporter can accurately capture your testimony. Please also remember this is not a question and answer session. Also requesting that everyone limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes, as we've asked that lengthy statements be submitted in writing. If anyone has prepared a statement that cannot be presented in 5 minutes, please use your time for oral testimony to summarize your comments and submit your full statement to the department in writing for placement in the record. All right. Charles Average.
So, yeah, my name is Charles Akridge from Huntsville, Alabama. For the record, I'm opposed to excessive waste water from Tyson Foods that would negatively impact the local wildlife and human activities in and around the waters and the waterways. From what I've gathered, Tyson Foods does not have a pristine record as it relates to following the limits of dumping this waste into our rivers and streams. Seems like this permit should be scrutinized in respect to past violations, and if approved, then ensure that the proper monitoring is in place to ensure that any violations get recorded and Adem is able to have unhindered access to this information. Thank you for this time to speak.
Next is Maria Brindle.
Hello, my name is Maria Brindle. I also live in Blunsville. I actually live by the Locust Fork River at Cornelius Falls and about 4 miles away from Marty's Mill. And there are big changes happening at Grade Street where polluted wastewater continues to drain. There are lots more people coming to Marty's Mill Falls on Grade Street, and they are coming earlier and later. This year, when temperatures spiked to 80 degrees, they were swimming the last week of February. And like Commissioner Brett Hardy said, also today, we're on March 26th. They were swimming with the hardy fish and wildlife that can survive E. coli, excess nitrogens, ammonium, etc. Please consider that. A few years ago, Marty's Mill got listed on AO.com as one of the best swimming holes in all of Alabama. Now, little old Marty's Mill, a former grist mill site, has become a true destination on lots of maps. At the end of 2024, the landowner of Marty's Mill Falls generously gifted the area to Freshwater Land Trust. Since then, they have made a safer and larger parking area with space for more than 50 cars and trucks. They also cleared some of the invasive privet and are making other improvements, like adding signs, a rail down the steps to go into the falls, etc. According to data provided by Placer Labs to Blount County Tourism, in the 5 months from May 1st through September 30th of last year, there were 12,500 visits. 9,600 humans made those visits. And some of those came more than once, that's why there's 12,500 visits. That data is collected through cell phone pings. So if one assumes that young children of these families don't have cell phones, that was a lot more than 9,600 humans going to Marty's Mill in those 5 months I don't even know when I'm there cleaning up how they all fit, but they do. And you have 50 cars out there. So the average visit was 88 minutes. Some people just come to take photos, and some people spend all day. They even bring their, things to cook and stuff like that. So there's no question its growing popularity requires the highest ADEM classification for clean water for more months or all of the year, not just between May 1st and October 1st. Because we're not fish and wildlife, we're humans, and we are exposed to E. coli. As two devoted friends of the creek and the river, my husband and I pick up the accumulation of trash on Sunday evening, and we pay Republic for weekly trash pickup. Brimful at high season. Watch it on Labor Weekend, 4th of July weekend, and this week with spring break in Jefferson County, boy, we pick up a lot of trash. We see the increased pressure on this lovely site. I'm also a member of Friends of the Locust Fork River, and we are delighted for people to enjoy nature and thereby strongly support each of the recommendations of Blackwater Riverkeeper, because they are the scientists and they know what they're asking for as far as too much discharge and all that. We hope you will give your full consideration to this potentially hazardous health situation. No more E. coli in these waters. 3 weeks ago, after the rain event, there was E. coli. It's posted on our Facebook. I mean, we're all volunteers, so we only get to test there once a month. We test at the bridge on Hamilton Mountain Road, and then we test on Mark's Mill to compare whether E. coli is coming from the cows or Tyson, and we post it, but it's only once a month, so it's not our job to be letting people know if there's E. coli or not. So, would you get in the water at Marty's Mill on a hot summer day? Would you let your children and grandchildren get in? So, if industry and ADEM are not protecting the public as we as a community need to. And so we would be okay putting up a sign that reads, swim at your own risk. Alabama Department of Environmental Management allows industry to discharge polluted water into this stream between October and April, and sometimes it can slip through on a rainy day. Do you want us to put a sign? Because we need to let people know that this is happening. Healthy communities depend on how we treat our water. Thank you.
Next is Deborah Gordon-Hellman.
Hi, I'm Deborah Gordon-Hellman from Bluntsville, and I've been enjoying and loving and visiting the Locust Fork River and Marty's Mill Falls for at least 40 years. Thank you for giving me this time to speak about Tyson, Graves Creek, and the Locust Fork River and their permit. Further comments will be in my written submission. In the modified changed application Tyson submitted on September 2025, they described a new facility installed at the Bluntsville site for deboning, thereby increasing their kill rate and processing by 125,000 more chickens per week, along with using approximately 100,000 more gallons of water per week for this, plus approximately 750,000 more gallons of water per week for the deboning process. This was all before getting permit modification approval from ADEM. If protecting the environment is really important to Tyson and ADEM, as they say, then supervision, testing, monitoring, and analysis of these increases before these changes were implemented should have been required, would be a best practice rather than putting the cart before the horse. Actually, they are required to notify you before making these kinds of changes. Because Tyson appears not to have followed regulations for change and discharge, number 2 under permit transfer modification, etc., the permit should not be approved at this time. They did not, and I quote, apply for a permit modification at least 180 days in advance of any facility expansion, production increase, or process change. There is also the matter for Adem of number 3 permit enforcement as laid out in the regulations. Since Tyson did not follow the regulations, their violation should initiate enforcement actions. And if I am wrong about this in my analysis, I look forward to hearing your comments and replies. It is mind-boggling to me that Tyson asked you, Adem, to raise the flow limits to match their increases in discharges to make them acceptable. Who is in charge here, Adem or the industry applying for a permit? That's a pig in a poke. That is accepting something before inspecting it. Is Adem just rubber stamping whatever Tyson does or wants? This is totally irrational and unacceptable. Adem should not pass this permit as is without further study and public comment. Related to the aforementioned issues is the dangerous and harmful discharge of phosphorus and its effect on human and wildlife health and the environment. Tyson was required to upgrade its phosphorus removal by 4/1/25 by construction of a phosphorus filter to meet a 0.25 milligram per liter limit during the term of the current permit. That is the one expiring. There are 2 problems here. This 0.25 limit is obsolete, weaker than the EPA limit of 0.1. And 2, did Tyson even complete the required phosphorus filter? I could find no information in the 160 plus pages and attachments to indicate Tyson did complete it. And if completed, there is no sampling in the charts for each stormwater outfall done after the required completion date to sample for phosphorus. The charts in the application all showed phosphorus higher than the obsolete limit of 0.25. And how are these limits affected by the probable new discharge increases due to the unauthorized changes from the increased slaughtering of chickens and the new deboning facility? No one is trying to stop Tyson Foods from operating and providing employment for our community. Tyson Foods is an important Blount County industry and community member. We just want the best protections and practices for our waterways that protects the public and the environment. Thus, for the economic interests of this county, through its burgeoning tourist industry, year-round environmental, wildlife, and human health concerns due to the waterway's popularity, and year-round use, not only should limits of pollutants, E. coli, bacteria, nitrogen, ammonia, and phosphorus in the wastewater and stormwater be strengthened, plus designation of Graves Creek to match its use for swimming and whole body contact. Approval of this application by Adem should be delayed until thorough monitoring analysis. Thank you.
Next is April Beneville. Ask again that all will remember to state your name and anyone you have represented.
Hello, my name is April Benefield. I am the president of Friends of the Locust Fork River. Yay. But more than that, I am a lifelong lover of water. I grew up in South Georgia at the Flint River, at the Kitchafoonie Creek. I lived in Columbus, where there's the Chattahoochee. I've even been on the English Channel and the Seine. And I never knew how beautiful water could be until 12 years ago when my now husband, Brian, took me to Martis Mill and to House Rock. I hope y'all know what we've got here. I hope you've seen it. It's beautiful. It is something that's special. Now, we love our friends and neighbors at Tyson. I'm going to put that out there. The folks that work there are our neighbors. They're our friends. We love them. We want them around for decades. But I come from a corporate world, and I know they have a fiduciary duty that they can't spend money of their stockholders unless they have a reason. And that's where y'all come in. Tyson and other states do better because they're made to do better. And so that's why we are asking you to make them do better, because they can and they do in other states. Alabama's just as good as those states. We are asking y'all to give the higher standards, better end of pipeline limits for nutrients and bacteria, limits on bacteria in the stormwater. I'm one of the ones that does the testing, my husband and I. Treatment and pollution limits that will allow Graves Creek and the Locust Fork River, you've heard this before, to be classified as swimming year-round, because that's what actually happens. Folks are in the water. It was beautiful today. I don't doubt, Brad, that there was folks in that water. I wish I could have been instead of at work. We want treatment and pollution limits to protect our critters. You're going to hear from somebody I respect about that. Some are only found here in the Locust Fork River, and that's big. And we've got biodiversity here that is unlike anywhere else, and we want to keep that. But also we need to think about who comes after us. It's not just us. We've got a lot of very passionate people behind me, as you've seen, and that's great. And I'm a passionate person about this. But we have people coming behind us. We've got young folks. We've got folks that haven't even been born yet that we want to have clean water, to be able to go to Martis Mill and jump off that fall, which is dangerous, but we want them to do it. This is necessary, it's important, and it's doable. And that's the important part. This is doable. We just need the right standards in place, and we look to y'all because we can't do it ourselves. I would love it if we could. So we look to y'all to protect what we can't protect by ourselves. Thank you. I appreciate the time that y'all have given us to show you our passion. Thank you.
Next we have Cindy Lowry.
Hello, my name is Cindy Lowry, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alabama Rivers Alliance. We're a statewide network of community and water-focused organizations working all across Alabama to protect waterways. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about has been mentioned already, and much more detailed by some of the local people here, and I'm speaking from both a local as a local person and from a statewide perspective through my work. And so first I want to say that we support all of the more detailed written comments that are going to be submitted by the Blackwater Riverkeeper. And tonight I'm just going to lift up a few specific areas that our organization is concerned with. We urge Adem to require treatment and pollution limits that reflect the importance of Graves Creek and the Locust Fork to the community and local economy, and that account for the actual historical use of Graves Creek and the Locust Fork for swimming and other whole body contact sports. Not only am I the director of the Rivers Alliance, but I'm a native of Blount County. My family goes back generations in the Locust Fork watershed, and I grew up fishing and swimming in the Locust Fork River. I have watched with great pride over the last 10 years or so as the Blount County Commission, thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and the local chamber and economic development people have embraced the Locust Fork River as an ecotourism asset that we always knew it to be. Kudos to the Friends of the Locust Fork River for helping this happen. As someone who talks to river lovers and users all across the state, I can tell you the Locust Fork River is one of the most popular recreation spots in Alabama and brings in folks from all across the southeast as well. This brings dollars to the local economy, and it can only increase as more people find out about it and more tourism infrastructure is developed. A river that is not protected with water quality for the real-life recreation that happens here, both past, present, and future, would be devastating to this growing part of the economy of Blount County. Tyson is, of course, a vital part of the economy here as well, but it is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year corporation, and according to their CEO on their website, in 2025 they had growth in both sales and profits. They have the resources to implement whatever pollution limits and treatments Adem requires of them, and they actually do meet higher standards in states where it is required. So we urge you to require limits strong enough to reflect the true value of this river and this area for the community. We urge you We urge Adem to require treatment and pollution limits that protect public health through the use of Graves Creek and the Locust Fork for recreation year-round. This has also already been mentioned. Everybody knows crazy Alabama weather. It can be 80-something degrees in the middle of January or February. It really isn't true that recreation only happens in those months anymore. We see this happening all over the state. We see local community advocates asking for this and other permits. Adem really needs to do a comprehensive review of these policies and these regulations, and particularly this would be a great example case where there's documented use of this river in other times of the year for swimming and whole body contact. The limits need to be strong enough year-round to protect public health. We also urge Adem to account for the effects of Tyson's massive withdrawals of groundwater on local hydrogeology and base flows in nearby creeks. Alabama currently has no agency or regulations that oversee or manage water use and water flows in our rivers and streams statewide. This is a huge problem for waterways, not only during times of drought, but also because so many of our waterways are seeing large withdrawals from industry, both groundwater and surface waters. And in this case, in this area, many of our surface waters are interconnected with groundwater in such a way that groundwater often provides the base flow of our rivers. Overuse and overpumping leads to unnaturally low flows, which are exacerbated by droughts, and we know droughts happen often in Alabama. Droughts and low flows, even if short-lived, can not only impact species that rely on the river, but they can also impact the river's ability to dilute pollution discharges. In the absence of a water management plan for the state or stronger regulation of water flows, it is up to Adem to address these issues in discharge permitting. We urge Adem to require treatment and pollution limits that reflect the downstream presence of rare, threatened, or endangered species in their federally protected habitat. Alabama is home to the most biodiverse rivers in the entire country. World-renowned scientists are repeatedly acknowledging that we are in a global extinction crisis, and our local Alabama scientists are continually working to inform the public and Alabama leaders about the many important species in Alabama that are on the brink of losing if we do not protect them. The locust fork is home to many of these species. Aquatic species play a vital role in cleaning our rivers and streams, keeping them healthy, and letting us know when something is wrong. Protection of these sensitive species and their habitat must be an important consideration of any pollution permit that is allowed along rivers where endangered species and their habitats exist. We urge you to ensure treatment and pollution limits are protective of downstream habitat and sensitive species. Thank you.
Next is Donna Matthews.
My name is Donna Matthews. I'm a property owner upstream of Graves Creek on the Locust Fork River. So it's my understanding that Adem has permitted Tyson for upwards of 60 years. And that's a long time. And in a 60-year time span, things change a lot. One of the main changes has been general recognition that clean, fresh water is an invaluably valuable resource. It's my understanding that Tyson, through their wells in the aquifer, drill out like 1.2 million gallons of clean water from a pure aquifer every day. And the cumulative amount of that is, over 60 years, is upwards of 24 billion gallons. And for those 60 years, they've been returning 24 billion gallons of clean water. They're returning not swimmable water when they finish their process. But that's not the only thing that's changed. There are predictable forces that are also at work. With the construction of the new Beltline, that's going to bring population pressures, the county's going to grow, the demands for water are going to grow, it's going to bring more tourists. We're already at 12,000-ish, and they have to really work to get here. When the rest of Birmingham comes up here, it's going to be a lot of people. That puts pressure on the water quality of the discharge. So I understand, this is weird, part about Adem. So, y'all are hard, going in the rock in the hard place. You've got the public wanting to do things. And then just recently with SB 71, you have the legislature and the governor pulling the rug under your feet. So you can't do better, right? You're restricted from doing better. But you can do the EPA standards. You can set a precedent and require this stream to be swimmable year-round and clean year-round with stringent requirements year-round. That's within your purview. And it seems like a really timely opportunity for Adem to look at how they want to appear in the world and stand up. Since nobody likes, since you're having a hard time dealing with everybody, do the right thing. And that is my request, is that year-round swimmable water from Graves Creek, and that requires Tyson to do more cleanup than what they've done. Thank you very much.
Next is Jim Godwin.
My name is Jim Godwin. I'm a biologist, and I have been working on the blackberry water dog and the flattened musk turtle for perhaps 14 years or so. The blackberry water dog is a federally endangered species, aquatic species, entirely aquatic. The flattened musk turtle is a federally threatened species, an aquatic species. They are endemic to Alabama and the upper Black Warrior River system, or no other place in the world than the upper Black Warrior River system. The method that I've mainly used over these past dozen or so years to sample for these species is using a technique called environmental DNA, or the shorthand of that is eDNA. And the technique is to go out and collect a water sample, filter it, because in the water column is the DNA of all sorts of organisms that's present there. You collect this DNA, you filter it, and in the lab, then you're able to use other chemical means to see if you've picked up your target species. In this case, the blackberry water dog, the flattened musk turtle. All right. When we have a detection of the species, so we've got a positive detection out of samples. So I've conducted this type of sampling over 100 plus miles of the Locust Fork, the Sipsey Fork, Brushy Creek, and Maytay National Forest, tributaries here of the Locust Fork, and where we're getting positive detections of these species, we have good water quality. We also find an indicator of good water quality going hand in hand with this are snails, presence of aquatic snails. Because with the musk turtle, the aquatic snails are an important food source. So this is, we have these indicators that are apparent for the presence of these species. Where we do not find positive detections of these species, we see degraded water quality, which could come from siltation, sedimentation, other factors. Currently, I'm working in tributaries of the Locust Fork, and one of these is Graves Creek. I was there today, and I will be surprised if we get any positive detections of the blackberry water dog and the flattened musk turtle from Graves Creek, because to me, the water quality is so degraded. As I was there at Martis Mill collecting water samples today, there's a slick algal mat on the rocks that indicates eutrophication, a lot of nutrients coming in, a very low number of snails that I see. Plus, there was an issue with air quality. While I was there was an oppressive stench over the Martis Mill area. I was there for about 15 minutes, and I began to taste this in the back of my throat. So, as I'm just here to speak about what I see here. And to me, there are inadequate procedures being done to maintain water quality, air quality in this area. Oh, can't grasp it here right now. But yeah, the Water Quality Act in Graves Creek is quite degraded, and if it's affecting the animals that live there, it's going to be affecting the humans that are in the stream also, because water quality for the biota is interconnected with the kind of water quality we need as humans. Thank you.
Next we have Sam Howell.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Sam Howell, the Conservation Chair of the Friends of the Locust Fork River. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on the NPDES permit number AL001449, Tyson Foods draft permit to discharge wastewater to Graves Creek, a major tributary of the Locust Fork River. My comments center around why Graves Creek should have a water use classification of S year-round, S for swimming and full-body contact rather than the current fish and wildlife, meaning the creek is just suitable for critter usage and habitat, but not for humans that recreate on the creek year-round. The classification fails to adequately protect recreational users of the creek and the main stem, the Locust Fork River. Graves Creek has been attracting waders, swimmers, tubers, even kayakers during the very high water in the winter months, and people that just want to sit on the creek bank to enjoy the beauty and the tranquility while eating a ham and cheese sandwich and drinking a Grady Coke soda. The beautiful Martinsville Falls is on the creek. It is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Blount County and listed on the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association's Waterfalls of North Alabama website and brochure. The brochure is displayed on Chamber of Commerce shelves throughout the state of Alabama and also at Alabama rest stops. Many people visit the falls, as was confirmed by Blount County Tourism recently implemented tracking survey. In a 6-month period when tracking was available, there were 12,000 visits that lasted an average of an hour and a half. Since Freshwater Land Trust recently purchased the property from the landowner, and with their area enhancements and the county's management, the visitors with water contact will undoubtedly increase and continue to rise as time goes on. Tyson Foods poultry processing plant and its waste discharge receiving wetland is located just upstream of Graves Creek and is a major source of water for the creek. I have toured and witnessed Tyson's filtering process, and it is very impressive. But it does not adequately control the pollutants, such as E. coli, fecal coliform, nitrates, etc., found in the waste discharge. From time to time, the discharge permit is violated and is self-reported to Alabama Department of Environmental Management. My question to you, does Adem follow up on repeated violations with a site visit to determine why and how it can be prevented in the future? For the most part, I think the answer is no. I was told years ago Adem is the least funded state environmental protection agency in the Southeast. And yes, I have talked to my state representative about this. He tells me he agrees with Adem, but the actions they take, by the bills that they debate, and the laws that are created by the bills, I'm not so sure that's true. So because of Adem's lack of adequate funding and personnel to follow up all non-compliant cases, it is even more important to reclassify the stream as swimming and full-body contact, resulting in a better control of point source pollutant discharges into the headwaters of Graves Creek via permit requirements. Therefore, the current draft permit should be denied and reworked. With all that being said, Tyson does a pretty good job complying with the pollutant loads of the current discharge permit. but more could be done to better treat wastewater entering the creek. Tyson chicken processors in other parts of the country, as you have been told, do a better job of nutrient filtration. Tyson has the technology, the capability, and the means to do so. It might be asking too much of Tyson to be a better neighbor and take it upon themselves to further reduce the pollutants released into the creek's headwaters. But I will ask, since Adem may ignore the obvious and not require revisions of the permit pollutant load criteria, Tyson Foods, would you please do a better job lessening the chances of an unsuspecting visitor of Graves Creek contracting a waterborne illness? Thank you very much.
So we have Eva Dillard.
Good evening. Thank you for being here and for holding this hearing. My name is Eva Dillard, and I'm the staff attorney at Black Warrior Riverkeeper. Riverkeeper is a nonprofit dedicated to preserving and protecting the Black Warrior and its tributaries. The Tyson NPDES permit on notice authorizes the discharge of processed wastewater and stormwater from Tyson's Bluntsville plant into Graves Creek, a tributary of the Locust Fork of the Black Warrior River. Both Graves Creek and the Locust Fork are on Alabama's list of impaired waters. Graves Creek was recently listed for pathogens for E. coli bacteria. Graves Creek already has a total maximum daily load or pollution diet for low dissolved oxygen and organic loading. The Locust Fork has a TMDL, a total maximum daily load for nutrients. Tyson is primarily responsible for the conditions in Graves Creek, and they are a significant contributor to the impairment of the Locust Fork. To meet the requirements of the Clean Water Act and to protect these water bodies, Adem must write a better permit than the one the department proposes to issue. Adem's August 2025 first draft of this permit actually had much more protective water quality-based effluent limitations for biochemical oxygen demand and for ammonia. Water quality-based effluent limitations are what they sound like. They are pollution limits designed to maintain water quality in the receiving water bodies. Water quality effluent limitations are particularly critical where, as here, those receiving water bodies are already impaired. However, in September 2025, Tyson indicated that it couldn't meet those permit limits that Adem had issued in that initial permit. Adem's response, unfortunately, was to immediately withdraw that permit, to abandon those more protective water quality-based effluent limitations, and insert the preferred limitations that Tyson asked for. In short, the permit, the one on public notice, prioritizes Tyson and their business needs over sound science or water quality in Graves Creek and the Locust Fork. And I think other people have made the point, this isn't a rant against Tyson, who is a valuable employer in the community, but we think Adem needs to do a better job of striking a balance between water quality preservation and protecting the community and Tyson's business needs. We urge Adem to withdraw the current permit and return to the August 2025 version as a starting point. Permit limits drive technology. We know that Tyson's operations in other states employ better treatment technology, and Tyson is using it in those other places. A 2018 study of EPA's toxics release inventory water pollution data indicates that Tyson Blunsville's 2017 average nitrogen pollution load was about 875 pounds a day, or approximately 75 milligrams per liter. Tyson had one of the highest discharges of nitrogen pollution to an impaired waterway in the nation. In comparison, the same study demonstrates that other poultry processors, including a Tyson facility in another state, are capable of discharging nitrogen concentrations in the much lower range of 2 milligrams per liter to 10 milligrams per liter, which is much different from 75 milligrams per liter. Tyson isn't going to invest in that kind of treatment technology in Alabama unless Adem writes a permit that requires that investment. And as we state in our more detailed written comments, the current version of the permit won't drive the kind of water quality protections that are necessary. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Catherine Holmes, Program Coordinator for Black Warrior Riverkeeper. Black Warrior Riverkeeper is a 501c3 nonprofit membership organization dedicated to the protection and restoration of the Black Warrior River and its tributaries. Riverkeepers members rely on the quality of the Black Warrior River for their livelihoods, and they regularly fish, swim, and boat in the river. We asked Adem not to approve Tyson Foods permit allowing polluted water discharges into Grays Creek and downstream the Locust Fork, a tributary of the Black Warrior River. This permit allows the discharge of approximately 1.2 million gallons of polluted wastewater per day on average to Grays Creek. Discharges from the facility occur upstream of popular public recreation areas such as Mars Mill Falls. When we take water samples downstream of industrial discharges, we look for indicators of pollution in the water, like pathogens, toxic metals and organics, nutrients, and oxygen-depleting chemicals that may harm the ecosystem to which the wastewater is discharged, as well as the people who come in contact with the water. On multiple occasions, our samples at Mars Mill Falls have shown concerning levels of both bacteria and nutrients like nitrates. During low flow conditions, when Grays Creek runs dry upstream of Mars Mill Falls, the in-stream waste concentration here is 100% effluent from the Tyson facility. Even during average annual flow conditions, the water in Grays Creek is made up of approximately 9.5% effluent wastewater. That means we are swimming in treated poultry processed wastewater and stormwater. We don't want more polluted water. We don't want to swim in E. coli. We ask Adem that this permit be rewritten to do more to protect the health of people and wildlife who use these beautiful resources. Thank you.
Next, we have Nancy Jackson.
Thank you for having this hearing and letting us talk to you about where we're coming from. We are not Tyson's stakeholders. They're stockholders, or they're stakeholders. But we are your stakeholders. You're the ones who protect our health, our very health, which is more valuable than any other thing that we can have in our lives. So I ask you to recognize your stakeholders as valuable and our health as valuable. Thank you.
Next, we have Stephen O'Brien.
Hi, so my name is Seamus O'Brien, and I'm going to be talking today a little bit about some of the organisms that live in Graves Creek and also downstream in the Locust Fork. And one of the things I always like to start out with in talking about why this is important and why freshwater organisms we've talked to you all today, such as flat musk turtles, black warrior water dogs, and the plethora of darters that are found nowhere else on the planet and no other river drain on the planet besides the Locust Fork are important, is Udacity is one of the most uniquely American values that we have as a society. And that American value that we have, and that was part of the writing of our Constitution, how this country was founded, was the American model of wildlife. The American model of wildlife means that unlike Europe in the days of old where a lot of immigrants came from, where the king and the government owned the wildlife, we, the citizens of the state, and we, the citizens of the United States, own the wildlife. It is managed in trust, but it is property of all of us in the state of Alabama. And one of the unique things about the Locust Fork is it is as people have mentioned before, one of the most biodiverse rivers in the country. I mean, you can go out today and see up to 12 species of turtles in the Locust Fork, which is more than all of Europe in one day, theoretically. So the things that we have here are orders of magnitude impressive, especially when you talk about our fish assemblage. Alabama is the #1 state in the United States for freshwater fish, mussels, snails, crawfish, and turtles. And so we lead the nation in all of these organisms, and on top of that, in the Locust Fork, we lead the state and unique individual organisms. And I think just to make sure I saw people passing this around, this is a picture of a flattened musk turtle. It's a fascinating organism. It is found only in the Black Warrior, as Jim Godwin and other people have mentioned before. This animal right here is one of the most imperiled turtles on the planet, period. They used to be one of the most common organisms you'd see all over the Black Warrior, but in the last 40 to 50 years, it's plummeted to abysmal lows and are really, really hard. It's very hard to see any. They're commonly taken out of our environment, they're commonly stolen from the people of Alabama. And so it's really important for us to not only protect us as humans and our health, but also the natural history of the state. What it means to be in Alabama, what it means to have this river system, what it means to be us as people. We own these organisms as citizens of the state. This is our history, this is who we are, these are things that are unique to us that people from all around the world know about. People visit this state, and especially Blount County in particular. I've talked to people who come all the way from Germany, they come from Japan, they come from China, they come from Australia, Europe, all over to come here. It is that impressive. And the resources that we have are truly something to be special and to have and take care of. But one of the things we've also talked about a little bit too, besides turtles, as you can see on my shirt, big fan, but are amphibians. And despite a lot of this discharge mitigating, hopefully, we've talked about if it is or isn't, but mitigating environmental impacts is also the impacts on amphibians, where we have the black warrior water dog, which is even more imperiled than the flattened musk turtle, and also found nowhere else on the planet. And they're not active in the summer. A lot of our amphibians in the state, of which we are also a global hotspot for, are active only in the winter. And that's when they breed, and that's when they come out. A lot of our salamanders, a lot of our frogs, when the rivers flood and all this waste gets pushed up into the bottomlands, that's where all of our amphibians are. And so one of the things I remember hearing growing up, and I always like to say, is everyone lives downstream of somebody. All these animals live downstream of us, they live downstream of Tyson, and again, not an attack on Tyson, but a desire to protect our natural heritage, our health, and what it means to be an Alabamian and also an American. And so with that, thank you all very much for hearing me.
Next, we have Arthur Joseph Jenkins.
Another turtle biologist for y'all. My name is Arthur Joseph Jenkins. I'm from Talladega, and I'm representing myself and the critters. I'm a hunter, fisherman, and conservation biologist whose research focuses on two federally listed species, the flattened musk turtle and the black warrior water dog, which inhabit the Locust Fork. Both species have declined severely in the Locust Fork in the past 5 decades. While the exact mechanism for these declines has not been precisely identified, their declines coincide with huge increases in chicken production within the watershed. The impacts of heavy nutrient loading in freshwater systems are well documented, having negative effects on the aquatic invertebrate communities, which are the prey of these swing peril species. I'm especially concerned with the phosphorus loading in the locust fork, as phosphorus is usually the limiting factor for algae blooms in freshwater systems, which result in crashes in dissolved oxygen levels that can be fatal to most aquatic organisms. The algae problem in the locust fork is obvious to anyone who has spent time there in the summer. To protect the many imperiled species of this river, Adem should institute lower limits on nutrients and biochemical oxygen demand, and Tyson should utilize the best available technology to treat pollutants, not the bare minimum to meet permit requirements, which they aren't even doing currently, particularly with phosphorus. My wife and I regularly paddle, hunt, and fish in the locust fork downstream from this chicken plant. We shouldn't have to wonder if it is safe to swim in the locust fork, or safe to eat the geese we've killed, or many fish we've harvested there. As such, pollution limits should also account for uses such as these by the public year-round. Thanks for the opportunity to comment.
Next, we have Kristen Carroll.
Hey, and thank you all for being here tonight and hearing our comments. My name is Kristen Carroll. I'm representing myself. I moved to Locust Fork in 2021, and I have come to care deeply for my adopted community, especially about our access to waterways that surround this area. I enjoy those with kayaking, fishing, and swimming. I want to acknowledge that Tyson does provide jobs in Blount County, and that matters. Like others have said, this isn't an attack on Tyson. But economic benefit can't come at the expense of the environment we all depend on. Those responsibilities have to go together. Tyson's history in this state raises concerns. The 2019 wastewater spill at the plant in Vanceville killed more than 200,000 fish. That's not a small accident, that's a major ecological failure. While reports from that incident show no endangered species were harmed, we can't assume we'll get that lucky. As others have mentioned, the Locust Fork rivers and its tributaries, including Graves Creek, support rare species that exist only here. If they're harmed, that loss is permanent. From what I understand, this permit allows treated wastewater to be discharged at levels that meet regulatory standards. But meeting the standard doesn't always mean protecting the river, especially when large volumes are discharged into smaller waterways. As someone who spends time on this river, who relies on this river, who loves this river, I can tell you this. Even small changes matter. More nutrients, more ammonia, less oxygen, those changes add up. Over time, they change the river. So the question isn't just whether this permit meets the rules. It's whether the rules are strong enough for this river system. I urge Adem to enact and enforce tighter limits, especially during low flow conditions, and to prioritize long-term water quality over minimum compliance. Because once a river is degraded, you don't get it back by meeting the standard. Thank you.
Next, we have Lindsay Mullen.
My name is Lindsay Mullen. I'm here representing myself and my community. I live on the Locust Fork River. I own 10 acres of land on Graves Creek, and I operate a short-term rental business where we bring people in to experience the natural world here. As folks have said, tourism is a growing part of our economy here. We host people at our cabin from all over the country, from out of the country, and especially people from the Huntsville and Birmingham areas who are coming in to get away from the city, to experience the river, the air, the beauty of this place. I take take the work of hosting that we do really seriously. I am inviting people here to experience a place that is sacred, peaceful, beautiful. But the truth is that I can't invite people here without sometimes warning them that sometimes the air is too putrid to breathe, and that the water might not be safe to swim in, and that they should check with our local community organizations before getting into the water. It can't be that the best we have to offer people in Alabama is putrid air and wastewater to swim in. I support all the recommendations of the Black Warrior Riverkeeper, and that Graves Creek and the Locust Fork River be given the highest classification for protection and environmental safety standards.
Next, we have Jeff Hodge.
Hey Henry, thank you for letting us have this time to talk. My name is Jeff Hodge. I'm a resident. I live on the river, and able to enjoy this incredible natural treasure that we are able to take part in here, that we get to do. And I hope y'all can recognize the value of this treasure that we have, our rivers, our aquifers, the geology, the biodiversity that we have here. I came I wanted to talk about this, I know this permit is about the discharge from Tyson on the river. I just want to also make sure that you're paying attention to the wastewater that's being dumped on the fields around as well when you consider the discharge off of the Tyson plant. Tyson through Senegro is using their Gadsden and Albertville plants to help use the nutrient-rich wastewater that they have to dump on the fields here. As I was coming to this event, I noticed that there were tankers in the fields right up from the Tyson plant there. And so please be in consideration the total nutrients that are being discharged or being part of this river stream as well. We have a treasure here that it's our duty to protect and to look at. And we're counting on y'all to do it. I know that the industry has a lot of sway and gets your ear a lot, and so I appreciate y'all coming to hear the comments from people that live on the river. People use this river all the time. I live right on Taterford, access to the river, and it's used all through the summer and all the time. I have children that I get to bring, and we were just in the river yesterday, enjoying the cool water. And so we need it to be clean, and we're counting on you. So please hold high standards for this. Thank you.
If there are no more registration forms indicating a desire to speak, are there any attendees who wish to speak tonight that have not already spoken? You can board. May I ask that you fill out a card after the fact so we can...
Yes, ma'am, I'll be happy to. Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name.
My name is Tyler Cantrell. I live in this community. I'm a former elected official. One of my greatest regrets of that time in my life was not pushing this issue further when this permit was last up for renewal. I was very early in my tenure, and I received severe backlash for my belief that it needed to be relabeled recreational use with a stronger permit. I want to first off apologize to this body of people in this community for my failure to do a better job at that time. I am not against business and I'm not against jobs, but I am against consistently lowering the standard of our water. 1.2 million gallons is what I believe Tyson can release a day. It's already been stated. I don't always see the water release, but I smell the discharge at my house that is 1.5 miles from the plant. My understanding is Tyson is using their own well to pull water for their factory. This is at no cost to them. which creates a great savings for their facility, while potentially limiting local water supplies for us. Some landowners close by have seen sinkholes on their property that they potentially attribute to the amount of water being pulled from the ground. It is also documented that Tyson operates in other states where they must meet stricter waste water limits and use more advanced treatment. Alabama has some of the lowest standards that I have researched, and we know Tyson is capable of doing better. They have the resources and they have the savings at this location to pay for safer filtering of the wastewater. The real question is, why aren't we requiring this event? Several have stated Tyson's contributions to our community, but if we're being completely honest, I am much less optimistic than they are. I haven't seen Tyson make any meaningful investments in our community, our schools, or our local infrastructure. Certainly not in a way that justifies us continuing to take this additional environmental risk. To have this river not labeled for recreational use and swimming year-round is completely dishonest. We are lying to even pretend otherwise. You have an elected commissioner stating the tourism approach that is being pursued at a county level, and on your way out of town you can look that there is a mural of Martis Mills Falls at Graves Creek on the side of our fire station. We should not trade clean water or our natural tourism for anything, much less the minimal return this community is seeing from Tyson. I'm asking Adem to strengthen this permit and protect this county's greatest God-given resource, which is the Locust Fork River, our local residents, and our wildlife the way they deserve to be protected. Thank you.
Any other attendees who have not spoken yet wish to speak? You come forward. Please state your name.
Yes, I need an extra short station here. My name is Sarah Sullivan. I'm a citizen of Blount County and representing myself. I don't have a prepared statement, but I did just want to come and say thank you to everybody that's already shared. I was very moved personally. I felt like there's a lot of great arguments and reasons for why this is worth considering further, and I think everybody has said the same things, that we're really kind of going towards the same thing here. We all live here and or work here, and we have to continue being part of this community. So the thing I wanted to reinforce was there's a saying that you teach people how to treat you, and I think hearing the ways in which Tyson is doing better in other places says to us that we have an opportunity to ask them to treat us well as well. So that's my thank you to y'all and to y'all, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tina Moselle Brazil, and I am a citizen of Blount County, and I was born and raised here in Alabama. I grew up on the Coosa River. And when I think of Alabama, I think of rivers. I think of the fact that it's on our state seal. And the rivers are something that we, as Alabamians, have valued since the beginning of who we are as Alabamians. I also think about me as a kid. I looked for every way I could fall into water, no matter what time of year. Like, my science teacher would take us down to a creek. We would pull water out, take it back, and look at the little diatoms. That was in March. And every single one of us looked for however we could accidentally fall in the water, swim around. I also think about the kayakers. Those are folks that are full body contact, and they love to kayak in the winter. I think that, like, listening to everything that people are saying here, I think your choice is really clear. Like, it's what do you value? Do you value rivers like Alabamians have since we put together that state seal? Or do you value the profits of a multi-billion dollar company? One that the last time I spoke to you and told you that Alabamians are river people. This is who we are. This is our identity. Those folks from Tyson said, hey, if you put a swim classification, we'll do it. We just need the excuse to go to our shareholders. Also, like, do you value the profit of multi-billion-dollar company? A lot of those profits that are going outside of the state are those folks here in Blount County who are trying to make a living off of protecting and celebrating our waters. Also, what do you value? The kid like me that fell in the water every time she had a chance, or the profits of a multi-billionaire company? That's the choice that you have here. Not making this swimmable year-round, not requiring that, says something really loud and clear about what each and every one of you values. And I hope that what you value is what we as Alabamians do, which is our water, our rivers, who we are. Thank you.
My name is JB Pennington. I'm a volunteer for, I'm not a very good public speaker, but I'll do my best. I volunteer for Flipper and the Wildlife Restoration Nurseries on my property. I was an engineer for years. I'm retired now. For my last 20 years, I did environmental engineering for power companies. They used to be this thing called the Clean Air Act. I would have been working somewhere else for the last 20 years without the Clean Air Act. Cleaning up the water is not rocket science. It's just expensive technology. It can be done, and it should be done. I personally think that Tyson should be required to reuse some percentage of that water, and that can be done. Like I said, it's expensive, but it could be done. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
So my name is Joe Brazil. I'm just representing myself. You guys inspire me.
Sir, please face.
Sorry.
Please face us.
This is just a great county to live in, as you can tell. And it's really, look, I just don't approve the current permit as it is. Just write a better permit. Write the right permit that looks out for all of us. Okay? That's all. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Since there are no other speakers, please be advised that the public comment period will end at 5 p.m. Friday, March 27, 2026. All comments must be received at the offices of the department in Montgomery by that time. After consideration of all oral and written comments, the department will make its determination regarding the proposed permit action and prepare a response to all relevant comments received. Thank you for your participation this evening. This hearing is adjourned.
Thank you.